Hey everybody, it is Gabby and it is time to talk about, I don't know if you can see that, An Anonymous Girl by Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. This was sent to me by the publishers of NetGalley and I appreciate it so much because this was my first Sarah Pekkanen book actually reading. I have, I believe, 3 of her books on my bookcase behind me, but I haven't picked them up yet. According to one of my coworkers that I work with, I've lent her 2 of them and she absolutely loves her style of writing and says that I should power into it. So I read this copy. Again, it's really hard to see, so I'm probably just going to drop my iPad in a second because there's no sense of holding up a screen that looks like it's just white. So yeah, so this is a digital uncracked proof and I don't think that anything needed to be corrected because it was perfect the way it was. So without further ado, we are going to jump straight into this little review and I'm going to tell you all about An Anonymous Girl. An Anonymous Girl follows a freelance makeup artist named Jess, and she works for a company called Beauty Buzz, and she was supposed to be working as a makeup artist for a off-Broadway company, and that's what her mom thinks she does. So there's a reason why she's no longer working with the theater productions, and you learn that later within the book. There are other characters that kind of use the events of what happened to her against her, and they try to make her feel like she was the one who did something wrong in the situation. It's just very manipulative, which is perfect for the character who tries to do it. So before I get ahead of myself though, so Jess is a freelance makeup artist and she is at a client's house doing their makeup. Her name is Taylor, I believe. She is kind of a minor character, but there's a big event surrounding this character. So Taylor is on the phone and she gets a voicemail, and it turns out that she is going to be part of a study. It's a questionnaire or survey for a psychologist, and it will pay her $500 just for taking the survey. She decides that she's not going to be turning up there because she's going out that night drinking and she's not going to be able to wake up early enough. So she's telling her friend that she's probably not even going to call and cancel, but she's not going to show up. So Jess, in need of all of this money, and you learn out later why she needs so much money, but she decides that Taylor's not the type of person that will call, so she's just going to show up and hope for the best. So the next day she arrives at the location of where this survey is taking place. She says that she is friends with Taylor. Taylor was not going to be showing up, and she crosses her fingers and hopes that she is still able to take the survey and that she will be paid. It requires a social security number, her ID, and that's pretty much it. So she's sent into this room that's very sterile, and there's just a computer, and she's told to sit, and that the survey will start once she sits down. So she's not really sure what to expect, but the questions start, and right away she's like, what did I just walk into? And it bounces back and forth between Jess and then the psychologist who is running the study, and her name is Dr. Shields, but you learn that later on. So anyways, she begins writing her answers, and then she is told that her answers are too superficial, that she has to think deeper, dig deeper into it. You're not quite sure what type of character could be behind this survey, but you're assuming that it's all about somebody who is trying to learn the ethics of people around this age. And Jess is, I believe she was 28 years old. Within the survey, there are questions that are invasive, but they're also light questions, and it takes a lot for Jess to start opening up. But then she starts looking forward to the questions. She does get called back for another part of the study, and she starts looking forward to it. When you learn why she is so anxious to make money, it breaks your heart. And I'm not going to spoil what it is because it is a big part of this survey that Dr. Shields is running. So anyways, the more you learn about Dr. Shields, the more I was kind of like, oh my gosh, she needs to get out of this study. She's going to get hurt. Something's going to happen. Then everything starts kind of pulling itself together because she's called subject 52. So you realize that there are 51 other girls, or women rather, that have taken the study before. She doesn't know how far into the study they were in. She also doesn't realize how far in Dr. Shields' world she has become until it's too late. And that's the beauty of this book, is that she doesn't understand what Dr. Shields is capable of. She doesn't understand what Dr. Shields is truly after until she's already far into it. And then she's worried that she's going to lose everything that's important to her, including her family. So I'm not going to go too far more into the plot of the story, because I really don't think that that would be fair to anybody who is watching this and wants to read the book, because it's just so good. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of this book. There weren't a lot of cons to it. The pros is that the character development was very nice. You see Jess developing into a more confident person, and you see her developing more morals than she started with, which is interesting because there are things that she does do that is against every moral code possible, but there's a perfect reason for it. So that kind of goes along with one of the questions that are asked at the beginning of the story. The other pro would be that I did like how you got two sides of the story, because we all know that there are always two sides to every story. So you get the side of Jess and the side of Dr. Shields, which is interesting because Dr. Shields' chapters are written in such a way that makes you feel like you are Dr. Shields, because I don't know, it's just, you have to read it. You can predict certain things from happening, but you don't get disappointed when you're correct in your thinking, because the way that it all just comes together, you're just like, yes, it's a satisfying feeling. The other pro is that, you know, you're left hanging wondering about all of the people that are involved in this. As far as the cons go, I really wasn't satisfied with the ending. The ending felt very rushed and very abrupt, and there were still some questions that I had left. I mean, it wasn't a terrible ending. It didn't ruin the entire book, but it did make my Goodreads rating go down a little bit. I was thinking about a 5 throughout it because I did power through it. I read it in 2 days. And that's not typical for me. And I don't mean like 2 full days of time. Like, I started it after work and then after work again. But I don't know. I felt like the ending could have been so much better, and I just wanted to know more about all of the different characters of what happened to each of them. But I mean, you get a quick snapshot of it. I just wanted more. So it's not that it was, how do I word this? It's not that it was a bad ending. It's just I wanted more, which I guess makes it a good ending, but at the same time it doesn't, because then I'll never know what actually happened. So I would say that this book was very well written. The combination of Greer, Hendricks, and Sarah Pekkanen was very nicely done. I mean, not nicely done. I just really enjoyed those two together. As far as wanting to read more, I know that they have both written together The Wife Between Us, and I've heard a lot of good things about that, so I'm thinking about picking that up at some point. But I have made a deal with Laura from Laura Pora that I am no longer going to be buying books until I power through my 600 books. Now, is that realistic? Probably not. But I am planning on reading at least 10 books before I am allowed to buy 1 book. So for every 10 I can buy 1. So I'm hopeful that by the time I want to buy a book, I have read at least 20 books, so then this way I don't feel guilty about buying 2. Because typically when I buy a book, I have to buy more than 1, because let's all be serious, that's what we all do, people. The other thing is that I have actually read 4 books so far this year, and An Anonymous Girl was one of them, and I'm so glad that I picked that one up because it was such a quick read. So I am really thankful for the publishers of this book and for NetGalley sending it to me, and that is all I have for you today. So, and I'm also thinking that this is probably going to be posted late because I didn't record it until this morning, and that's my fault. So I'm going to record like 5 videos so I don't have this problem again. And that's all I have for you today. So see you later. Bye.